What if the key to unlocking your deepest memories isn't in your brain? What if it's hidden in the space between your inhale and your exhale? They told you your soul was silent. They told you had to meditate for years to awaken it. But they never told you that a single breath, done in the right way, can make your soul speak. A whisper, a flash, a sensation so familiar it makes your heart ache. There are moments in life when you suddenly remember something that doesn't belong to this lifetime. A smell, a place, a dream that feels more like a memory than imagination. But here's the hidden truth no one talks about. The breath is not just oxygen. It's a carrier of soul codes. It holds the original vibration that entered your body when you were born. And if you learn to breathe consciously, not just mechanically, you can reawaken what your soul has been trying to tell you for lifetimes. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you've been here before, even though it makes no sense? Drop your answer in the comments. Because your soul might be reaching back, through breath. And that's exactly where this journey begins, not in the mind, not in the sky, but in the very breath that keeps you alive. My name is Eli. And 2 years ago, I was lying flat on the floor of a remote cabin in the middle of the woods. No phone, no music, no thoughts even, just breath. I wasn't trying to remember anything. I was simply exhausted. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I had burned through every technique I'd been taught. Then something strange happened. As I inhaled deeply and held that breath, not by force but by instinct, I felt something move in my chest. Not physically, energetically. It was like a memory unfolding. But not from this life. Images, symbols, a temple made of light. Words I didn't recognize but somehow understood. I started crying. But it wasn't sadness. It was a soul remembering itself, through breath. That moment changed me. Not because it was dramatic, but because it felt inevitably true. Like my soul had been patiently waiting for me to just breathe the right way. Have you ever had a breath that changed something inside you? So share it. Your story might activate someone else. Because from that night forward, I knew one thing. The breath is not just what keeps us alive. It's what reminds us we've lived before. When you were born, something sacred happened. You took your first breath. And with that breath, your soul anchored into your body, like a diver plunging into a deep ocean. But here's the mystery. In that very moment, you also began to forget. You forgot the language of light. You forgot the soul agreements you made before entering. You forgot the lifetimes you once lived, the teachers who guided you, the divine mission etched into your being. It's not your fault. This world is heavy. It trains you to survive, not to remember. And so, as you grew, your breath changed. It became shallow, mechanical, a tool for survival, not for awakening. But what if I told you that your soul memory never left? It's not gone, it's dormant. And the breath is the key that unlocks the door back to it. Conscious breathing is not just about calming anxiety or focusing the mind. It's a sacred return. Every breath you take with awareness reopens the spiritual files hidden within your being. Each inhale is a knock on the door of the divine self. Have you ever felt like something inside you was waiting to be reawakened? Just comment, "I feel it," if this speaks to your core. Because once you begin breathing like your soul remembers, everything begins to shift. And this isn't just poetic language. The ancients knew it. And they left us the codes, hidden in the breath. In ancient Egypt, breath was called Sa, the force that animated the body with divine essence. The yogis of India spoke of Pra, the sacred life force riding on every breath. The Essenes, mystical followers of early wisdom, believed breath was the vehicle of the angels. And then there are the Upanishads, sacred texts that whisper, "As breath moves, so does the soul." They all point to the same truth, across time, language, and geography. Breath is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. But the real secret? There's a pattern to breath that activates memory. It's not about how much you breathe, but how you breathe. Certain patterns, like circular breathing, nostril alternation, and breath retentions, change the frequency of your nervous system. They open the doors to theta and delta brainwave states, the same frequencies where deep soul memory, past lives, and divine instructions reside. The ancients used these breathing codes to reconnect with their divine origin. They were not meditating to escape the world, they were remembering how to walk through it as divine beings. And here's what most people miss. You don't need a guru or a mountain retreat. You just need to tune your breath, and the soul begins to sing again. If this ancient truth resonates with you, comment "sacred breath" below. Let's bring back the wisdom we already carry. Because inside your very lungs lies the map back to your soul's forgotten light. When people begin breathing consciously, not just to survive but to awaken, something incredible starts to unfold. Let me share a few real stories. A woman named Alina, during a breathwork session in silence, suddenly began to sob uncontrollably. She saw a woman in white standing by the ocean. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't her imagination. It was her, in another life, another body, another story that had never left her soul. A man named Raphael had never meditated before. But after practicing deep, rhythmic breathing for 15 minutes, he saw a golden spiral rise from his chest and burst into symbols he couldn't identify. Weeks later, he discovered that those symbols matched ancient Sumerian scripts he had never studied. And then there was a child, only 7 years old, who during a sleep breathing practice whispered, "My old name was Serial. I remember now." No one taught these people to imagine anything. They simply tuned into the breath. And the breath opened a door. A door that is always there, but rarely walked through. This is why so many who start conscious breathing feel emotional. Because the body remembers, the soul remembers, and finally, you remember too. Have you ever had a moment where breath brought a memory, a tear, a strange knowing? Type, "I remember something," in the comments if your soul has whispered too. For centuries, breath was considered mystical. But now, even science agrees, breath doesn't just affect the body, it reprograms the brain, heart, and energy field. Let's break it down. Your breathing pattern directly controls your autonomic nervous system. Shallow, fast breaths? Fight or flight? Deep, rhythmic breathing? Rest, healing, remembrance. But it goes deeper. Research shows that specific breathing rhythms induce theta brainwave states, the same state accessed during deep hypnosis and spiritual visions. It's where memories outside of linear time are stored. When you breathe consciously for even a few minutes, the vagus nerve is stimulated. That's your soul's communication highway. Your heart rate variability increases, a marker of emotional resilience and coherence. Your body synchronizes with the Earth's Schumann resonance, a frequency linked to intuition and altered perception. But here's the part they don't teach in schools. Your heart has 40,000 plus neurons, a little brain, and it stores emotional and possibly spiritual memory. When breath enters rhythm with the heart, a frequency of coherence is created. And in that coherence, you access what's beyond the conscious mind. Breath is the switch. Your body is the antenna. And your soul? It's the broadcaster, waiting for the signal to reconnect. If you'd like a full video on how this works scientifically, type, "Do the science drop" in the comments. Because for too long we've separated spirituality from science. But breath is where they finally meet. Because when we share what awakens us, we give others permission to remember. And when you combine ancient technique with modern understanding, you get a ritual, a code, a portal. Now that you understand the power of breath, it's time to experience it. This is not just a breathing technique. It's a sacred ritual designed to awaken the memory your soul has carried across lifetimes. So I invite you, take a moment, turn off distractions, close your eyes, place one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. We'll begin with the 3-step soul memory breath. Step 1, circular breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 4 seconds. No pauses. Let it flow like a sacred circle. Repeat for 2 minutes. Step 2, sacred phrase. Now whisper in your mind the phrase, "I remember who I am." Say it once per breath. Let the vibration of the words match the rhythm. Step 3, temple visualization. Picture a golden staircase inside your chest. With every inhale you climb a step. With every exhale you feel lighter. At the top, a temple made of light. Let whatever comes, images, feelings, words, come without judgment. Breathe there. Be there. This ritual may unlock memories, sensations, tears, or simply a stillness you've never known. When you finish, take a moment. And please share below. What did you feel? What did you see? What did you remember? This is how we weave the invisible back into the real. By breathing with intention. And listening for what only the soul can whisper. But be warned, remembering your soul isn't always gentle. It can shake your world. Because once you remember, your life begins to realign. Most people think remembering your soul will bring peace. And it does. But not in the way you might expect. Because when you remember who you are, you also remember what no longer belongs. People may leave your life, gently or suddenly. Old patterns collapse. You might lose interest in things that once defined you. You'll begin waking up at strange hours, feeling energy in your hands, or dreaming of places you've never been, yet somehow know. It's not chaos. It's realignment. Your soul, now reactivated, starts clearing everything that's not aligned with its truth. This can be disorienting. You may question your sanity. You may feel like you're floating between worlds. But this is the initiation. Because you're not just remembering. You're returning. Returning to a frequency that was always yours. Returning to the divine mission you chose before birth. And all of it began with a single breath. If you're already feeling these shifts, if this path sounds like your story, just comment, "My soul is awakening." Because your words will echo into the field, and remind others they're not alone. And once the process begins, there's no going back. But there is a next step. And it's waiting in the breath that follows. So now you know. It was never about breath as biology. It was always about breath as remembrance. Each inhale, a retrieval. Each exhale, a release. Each sacred rhythm, a return. You were never meant to forget who you are. But you were meant to remember at the right time. And if you're still here, still listening, still breathing with intention, that time is now. This journey isn't linear. You won't find all the answers in a book or even in this video. But the map is inside you. Etched in breath. Encoded in your heartbeat. Dormant until you dare to awaken. And now you've taken the first step. Not with a leap of faith, but with a single sacred breath. If this message touched you, breathe deeply, and type, "I'm ready to remember more" in the comments. Someone else needs to see it. Because the moment you remember, you give others permission to do the same. And now I'll leave you with this. If one breath can unlock a forgotten memory, what could an entire life of sacred breathing create? Turn on notifications. Because the next revelation is already breathing with you.